Hey everybody, Star Cherries here, and this is the official read aloud of my story, The Planet Revolution. I worked very hard on this story, and I think you guys are going to like it a lot. So, I hope you enjoy. So, if my voice sounds normal like this, that means I'm generally just reading it. And if my voice sounds like this, I am either reading a thought or a flashback. Expect both. This story was actually of what I would think what the Planet Revolution would look like, so I hope you guys enjoy this. It's gonna be pretty good. Anyways, here we go. Chapter 1. Soon to begin. Time has passed since the planets of the solar system were in a single orbit as their punishment for disobeying their sun, Solara, once again. Some of them were feeling a little sick, especially Neptune, who was feeling worse than them, and they all had resentful looks on their faces. For the past few months, they have not said a single word to Solara. Soon, Solara then shouted, "Guys, I am not going to say it again. We are all friends. Why won't any of you talk to me? Will you all just say a word and show some respect to this one star keeping you all together?" "No," all the planets said in their deepest angered voices. Solara gasped. "What did you all just say?" With enough anger, all the planets turned around and screamed, "We said no!" "I cannot believe what I am hearing," Solara then said angrily, her light beaming very brightly. "You've all seriously undermined everything I've done for you all, and now you're turning your back on me? What about the good times? Who do you think I am?" "Who do we think you are?" Jupiter said sternly. "An absolute dictator!" "You've put us through enough trouble," Luminara exclaimed, her golden pink hair shining in the light. "And this single orbit thing is much worse than the other punishments. I'm clearly unwell, and I've definitely had enough of this." "You're a monster, mate," Uranus then followed. "My best friend Neptune is really sick because of this. And you! Look what you've done to that poor Neptune," Saturn pointed out. Neptune coughed violently, her color as bright as Uranus's colors. If this wasn't fixed now, she'd be either gone or not an ice giant anymore. "Maybe you do deserve to be alone," Mercury said, while Solara's face dropped the minute she heard that. "I thought you saw me as your best friend, but best friends trust each other with what they have and always hear each other out. You've never done that for me as often. I don't want to say this, but we are done with you." Solara turned distraught, and she felt like she was going to cry just hearing that. Saturn's biggest moon, Titan, began to process an idea. I think I've got a plan. Throw nasty insults to Solara. We'll get her angry," he then said. "But wouldn't that..." Europa, a moon of Jupiter, started worriedly. "Make her solar flare us? Yes, of course. But whenever she's on a solar flare rampage, she can't control us," Titan explained. "Remember that insult that took us to the point where we started the moon revolution?" Callisto asked. Titan shuddered as that dreaded moment echoed in his head. Flashback. "You also both have lakes and rivers. No one else does as far as I know," Mars explained. Earth scoffed as she was getting more irritated. "So? Does he have an ocean? Huh?" "Under his surface. Not just any ocean, though. It's liquid water," Luminara beamed. Titan's face dropped slowly as he was hearing things. "Yep, so it's possible he could sustain Mars began until Earth interrupted him. "Stop!" she shouted. "Don't say it!" But, Luminara stuttered. "He is just a moon of Saturn, okay? We are nothing alike." "Come on, stop being rude," Mars chided. "Yeah, don't be rude," Luminara followed. With enough irritation, Earth shouted, "No! Moons should know their place." Mars' eyes widened, Luna's face fell, Luminara gasped, and she felt Alara hugging her, crying. "Keep saying silly things like that, and they will make them think they become planets like us," Earth finished. Everyone remained speechless, and Titan was not happy at that point. Luminara, Alara, Mars, and Luna stared at Earth with angered faces while Earth tried to chat with Titan. "So, Titan, what's up?" she asked. The biggest Saturnian moon barely looked up. "I came here to meet you," he said quietly. "Uh-huh, and? Any thoughts on this meeting?" Earth then asked. "Disappointed," Titan then said as they soon drifted off. Earth, Mars, Luna, Luminara, and Alara watched him drift away. The phrase that Earth said had went way too far with him. Well, that was rude, Earth pointed out. Luminara rolled her eyes at her. Backstabber. End of flashback. Titan? Titan! Hey, snap out of it! Rhea waved her hand in front of her big brother's face to snap him out of flashbacks. Gah! But Callisto, seriously, do not remind me, Titan then exclaimed. Last thing I want to think about. But anyway, the only power left now is our words. I will say, Solara had gone too far with this, Rhea recalled. This arrangement has really had dragged us down, so we will have to do this again, even if it's the last thing we do, Ganymede then explained. Are you thinking of another revolution? Like a planet revolution? Enceladus cried. Europa's face fell. Another revolution? Even after the moon revolution years back? She thought. Planet revolution? Io asked. I don't want another revolution. Solara's put our planets through enough trouble, Io. It's best for us. Alara, the young moon of Luminara, then said, We'll do what's right. Go against Solara for a while until we make peace again. After that, the planets and moons began to protest and insult Solara until she lost her anger and began launching solar flares around, screaming. Meanwhile, Earth, Mars, and Luna were in discussion, worried about Earth's life and wondering what they should do. I mean, I would want to fight back, but I don't want to lose my life, Earth said, trying her best not to cry. Mars placed his hand on her shoulder. Earth, don't worry. You're safe with us, and you have Luna, he said while Luna calmly smiled at his planet. He'll fight alongside you and keep your life stable. And if it's ever the end, never forget us, Luna said, hugging Earth. Now, where were we, you guys? Oh, right, Mars said, changing his look to his determined eyes. We have officially had enough of this torment. Let's show this star who is boss. Solara got so mad that she knew she had to calm down, so she took a deep breath and stopped solar flaring, but also passed out a minute after. And so it is soon to begin. The Planet Revolution! Chapter 2. The Discussion and Preparation. Ganymede took matters into his own hands by gathering the planets and moons for a quick discussion about the revolution. Some of them were in doubt, while some are agreeing. Another revolution? Earth cried. I don't want to hallucinate again! Earth, you'll be fine, Mars said. This isn't the continuation of the moon revolution. Sensitive subject! Venus exclaimed. All right, listen up, Ganymede interrupted. Since Solara has put us through enough, it'll be time we do a revolution involving all of you planets. Take these transformation brooches. Each planet received a brooch containing a transformation button. Ganymede explained to them that when they shout, Transform! They will change into a revolutionary fighter. This will come in handy, Neptune said hoarsely. Uranus looked at her worriedly. You sure you want to fight? He asked. You're sick. I want to fight, my friend. We'll fight together until Solara makes peace with us again. After speaking, Neptune coughed violently again. Oh, dang, Saturn said. I hope Neptune survives this, Jupiter said worriedly. Losing her is the last thing we want. Wait, Loda then realized something. I'm Earth's moon, and she'll become unstable if I'm not alongside her. Don't worry, Luna, Europa told the worried moon. You'll be fighting alongside her anyway. Alara will also be fighting alongside Luminara as well. But what about the rest of the moons? Mercury asked. Won't they be our teammates or something? Well, that'll definitely be the case, Ganymede said. Moons, stay with your planets. Though we've done a revolution just as moons before, we will be with our planets in this revolution. Luminara had a very worried look on her face. She was a young planet after all, and she didn't want to lose her moon or her friends. Something wrong, Luminara? Jupiter asked, noticing her distress. I'm kind of nervous about the revolution, Luminara replies, her voice shaken. I don't want to lose you or any of my friends. Jupiter held her in a hug. Luminara, you'll be okay. We are all going to be in this together. If you are a target of attack, we'll protect you. Soon, a voice bellowed, Get back to your orbit, or there will be a consequence! That was Solara. She noticed the planets were out of the one orbit, and that was the final straw for the planets. Not today, you won't! Mercury screamed back. It's almost time we are going to fight back, Earth. You ready? Venus asked. I'm ready, Earth said, taking a deep breath, holding her brooch to her surface. Let's show Solara what we can really do, Uranus exclaimed. The planets were ready. At the call, they will transform and perform their first attack. Ganymede took a deep breath in and was ready to make the call out. Showtime! Chapter 3. Transformations and First Attack. Go! Ganymede shouted. At that call, the planets all shouted, Transform! And pressed the buttons on their transformation brooches. Mercury transformed into a fighter resembling a black jacket, a combat uniform, boots, and was holding a flag that said, Planets, in his hand. Venus then transformed into a fighter wearing a hat with small wings, and she wore a shirt with a yellow striped up sphere on the front, yellow striped pants, and dark shaded orange combat boots. In her transformation, Earth wore a black hoodie, had a barrette in her hair, and wore a black fighting jacket with some hints of blue and green, and blue pants and shoes. Mars' transformation assembled a headband with glasses worn on top of his head, and as for his outfit, he had on a soldier-like shirt with similar sleeves, orange pants with small rips, and lighter colored boots. Luminara's transformation assembled a pink combat jacket with a pink shirt and a shade of yellow, pink camo pants, and shoes with the star on each front. Her rings had spikes on them, and it was called a buzzsaw. Jupiter assembled in a red bandana and dark chains on his head, and wore a camo jacket, pants with a small sword accessory strapped on the front, and boots, of course. Saturn wore a black hoodie with a yellow cross on it, and her rings had spikes on them, and they were considered buzzsaws. She wore a dark shade of yellow, combat jackets, pants with small rips, and cute little combat shoes. Uranus wore a teal camo jacket and a belt-like strap wrapped around him, teal pants, a belt, and comfortable fighting shoes. And his rings also had spikes, and they were also buzzsaws. Lastly, Neptune wore a beanie colored light and dark blue, an eye shade covered her left eye, and she had on a shirt with a rhombus on the front, and of course, blue pants and boots. Luna and Alara also had on combat hats, since they were allowed to fight alongside Earth and Luminara. The rest of the planet's moons stayed with their planets, and decided to work as their teammates, though this revolution was in the planet's matter. Meanwhile, Solara was in a state of anger since the planets had left their orbit. Again. With enough anger, she made her decision. You all left your single orbit? She roared. That does it! You all what the? She was thrown off as what she saw next was shocking. The planets all jumped above her, all their combat gear and weapons in hand. Their faces read that they definitely have had enough. What in the world are you guys doing? Solara exclaimed. What's with the outfits? And are you trying to attack me? What do you think we're doing, Dictator? Jupiter exclaimed. We've told you we've had enough, but you never heard us out. So we've decided that we will go against you in a revolution, Venus and Mars exclaimed both at once. A revolution against your one star? Solara shrieked. You guys wouldn't dare! Oh, do you know after everything we've been through? Saturn declared, spikes beaming in the light. First attack, now! Europa shouted loud enough for everyone to hear. The planets lunged forward, weapons visible, Luminara, Saturn, and Uranus's buzzsaws, rings gleaming brightly. Solara took only a few hits from the swords and weapons. She launched a ginormous solar flare, and most of the planets attempted to dodge it at best. But unfortunately, Venus took a bad hit. Her surface had a massive burn, and she fell over, wailing in pain. Venus! Mercury shouted in agony. Oh no! Luminara cried. That solar flare got her big time! We need to help her, everyone! Come on! Jupiter cried, and they all ran over to her aid. The first attack was so far a good success, but Venus fell to the solar flare, and she needed aid immediately. After she was healed, they will perform their next attack. Chapter 4. Venus at aid, next attack in process. Hours after the first attack, the planets and moons went to an area in the solar system to aid Venus after she was hit by the solar flare. The burn on her surface was a bright red, and it was stinging at a fast rate. Venus was bawling in pain, and her eyes were red and swollen from crying so much. Oh, Venus, Mercury sighed sadly. This didn't have to happen to you if it weren't for that solar flare. How are we going to help with this burn, Jupiter? Saturn asked worriedly. Venus can't fight in this condition. Jupiter was deep in thought for a minute until he got an idea. I've got it. I'll just place some ointment on it and then put a bandage over it. Won't that sting, big guy? Ganymede asked. Yes, but one thing for sure, it'll help. Venus was calmed by some breathing techniques by Mercury, Earth, and Mars. When she was relaxed, she saw Jupiter above her. Hold still, Venus, the gas giant said calmly. I'm going to rub some ointment on the burn and put a bandage over it. This may hurt a little, but try not to have a meltdown, okay? Venus, on the verge of tears again, nodded slowly and held Mercury's hand tightly. Earth held Venus in her arms during the procedure. Jupiter carefully placed ointment onto the burn and rubbed it slowly and gently. Venus winced at the sting, but she remained calm as Earth held her, and Mercury had her hand in his. After the ointment settled, Jupiter placed a band-aid over the burn. Venus felt a little more calm now that her burn was being treated. There you go, Jupiter replied. That should take a while to heal, so we'll save the next attack until that burn is gone, so that way we can all fight together. Venus nodded. Okay. Thank you, Jupiter, she sniffled. Pleasure is all mine, friend. Later on that night, Jupiter was the only one awake, finding an idea for their next attack. He looked around his surroundings and noticed his 4 biggest moons were fast asleep in front of him. Saturn was asleep next to him with Titan and Rhea in her arms. Then noticed Uranus held Neptune in his arms as they both slept, and then saw that Venus was asleep with Mercury, Earth, and Luna beside her, and also saw Mars, Luminara, and Alara asleep beside each other too. Good thing everyone's asleep, so that way I can find another idea for our next attack, Jupiter whispered very quietly to himself, looking through his book. He saw all the lists of attacks they could do, until one caught his eye. An asteroid quick attack. It explained. Each planet hides behind a big-sized asteroid, grabs a pile of huge rocks, and throws them toward the enemy when the cue is called. That'll definitely work for our next one, Jupiter then said again. It'll definitely... He yawned. Work. The gas giant felt himself getting sleepy. Should he call it a night and go to sleep? Or keep on working on plans? What should I do? I'm already getting tired and shouldn't be up this late, he asked himself. Before he made another move, he heard a small, sleepy groan. He looked down. Io? The sleepy little moon looked up at his planet with the cutest, tired little eyes. Jupiter? What are you still doing awake? Planning our next attack in our planet revolution, Jupiter told him. Why? Is something up? No, Io replied tiredly. I just want you to rest. You can't be awake all night. You could plan more maybe tomorrow. Jupiter, still debating it but having to hear on his little moon, smiled tiredly. You're right, Io. I'll get some rest. I'll plan more when morning hours arise. Io smiled at his planet and then fell asleep again. Jupiter settled in a comfy position and felt his eyes closing. His book remained open in his hands as he soon fell fast asleep and was out in minutes. Early the next morning, the planets and moons slowly woke up, ready to conquer another day worth of the revolution. Jupiter was still out cold until Saturn tapped his shoulder. Hey, Jupiter, you awake? Hearing the ringed beauty's voice, Jupiter's eyes blinked open, and he yawned, rubbed his eyes, and stretched. Oh, hey, Saturn. Everything all right? I'm good. We all woke up earlier, and you were still asleep a while after we were awake. Were you up all night? Saturn asked. Jupiter clapped his hand over his mouth. Well, not exactly all night. I was just up a little late planning out our next attack on Solara. Ganymede, Europa, Io, and Callisto looked up at their planet with big smiles. Hey, pal, sleep good? Europa asked. Jupiter nodded. Yes, very. All that planning did have me tired. Anyway, we should see how Venus is doing. Venus, still fast asleep in Earth's embrace, felt a comforting sensation. The burn she had didn't seem to take long on healing at all, because it wasn't stinging as much as it was before. Earth gently rubbed Venus's head. Hey, sleepyhead, you awake? She asked. Venus sat up and rubbed her eyes from slumber. Guys, what's going on? She asked sleepily. You were out cold there, Mars said. You must have been so tired after getting that burn treated. And after performing our first attack, Luminara added. Venus nodded at both statements. You're right, and I do feel quite better. My burn is not stinging as much as it was yesterday. Oh, that's good news, Jupiter said until he realized something. Wait a minute, Neptune! How is she feeling? See for yourself, big guy, Ganymede pointed out. Neptune was initially getting worse as time went by. Her color was light, her face was pale, and her strong coughing was happening every few minutes. She groaned, coughing again. Do you think she'll make it through, Uranus? Jupiter asked. I hope so. I don't want us to lose her, the ice giant said worriedly. She's my best friend. Mars then tapped the gas giant's shoulder and asked, Don't we have another attack in planning? Oh, right, Jupiter realized. Okay, guys, this will be our next attack. Listen carefully, and we'll get set up. Chapter 5, Asteroid Quick Attack. Jupiter set up about 9 big-sized boulders for each planet to hide behind, and also placed a pile of asteroids in the spots too. He called each planet and placed them behind each one, and then got behind his own. Okay, at my call, we attack, he said. Got it? Yes! Every planet called back. As soon as Solara turned around, she began to look for the planets, and also saw 9 giant asteroids in front of her. What's this? She asked. Where are you guys? Hey, Solara! Mars cried out as every planet popped out from each boulder. What the heck? The leader guardian sun panicked. Don't tell me there's another attack going on. You know it, Jupiter declared. All right, guys, on the count of 3. Each planet held up an asteroid until Jupiter got to 3 and made the call. 1, 2, 3! Each planet threw the asteroids towards Solara as fast as they could. They took a hit to her face and arms. Oh, is that how you want to attack me now? She asked as she soon found a big-sized boulder and hurled it forward. How about you try dodging this? The big-sized boulder began to fly toward Saturn, so Titan, Rhea, and Mimas got in front of her to save her at best. The boulder bounced off, but it hit the 3 moons pretty bad. Ah! The 3 Saturnian moons fell over and were in a lot of pain. Titan! Rhea! Mimas! Saturn cried as she felt tears stinging the corners of her eyes. My poor little moons! Saturn, take care of them later. Focus! Jupiter called to his best friend. With enough worry and anger boiling over, Saturn began throwing more asteroids. My moons are precious to me, you monster! Saturn screamed in rage as she threw another asteroid. Dione gasped. Dang, she's mad. No kidding, that boulder just took a bad hit to Titan, Rhea, and Mimas, Enceladus pointed out. Soon, Jupiter called out one single attack, which means everyone throws 1 asteroid at once. After he counted to 3, the planets all threw 1 asteroid at once, and most of them managed to hit the leader guardian sun. Ow! Solara cried. How does that feel, knowing the torment you put us through was really weighing us all down? Mercury chided loudly. You guys keep leaving your orbits and disobeying me is the reason why I do this to you, Solara recalled. Not a word about the orbits! Uranus hollered. Last thing we want to recall! We just want free will. You never let us have that, Luminara shouted. You're like, don't leave your orbit! Or, your time out of orbit is over! And yada yada. It's bloody annoying! Dang, you really stood up for us, Ilara told her planet, with a shocked look on her face. Are you backstabbing me? Solara said with rage in her tone. If that's the case, I'll tag you again. No, I'm just standing up for us. The single orbit thing pushed us to our limit, Luminara declared again. Liar! Solara grabbed another asteroid and threw it at Luminara. The asteroid crashed into her eye and bounced back off. Luminara! Mars and Ilara both cried at once. The young pink planet placed her hand over her eye and broke down wailing. My eye! Jupiter ran over to her and gave her a hug. Don't worry, I'll patch it up for you, he comforted the young planet. Was this attack a good idea? Venus asked frantically. It's part of the revolution, V, Mercury cried. Why did she do that? Mars said before shouting. Why, Solara? Why? Jupiter called everyone's attention. Guys, I need to patch up Luminara's eye, and Saturn needs to help out Titan, Rhea, and Mimas. This attack was so far good, but now we need to step back so we can help Luminara and also Saturn's moons. Big guy, is Luminara okay? Ganymede cried as soon as he saw the young pink planet sobbing in pain. Solara threw an asteroid to attack her, and it hit her in the eye. And I won't forget to mention 3 of Saturn's moons need her help as well, because they were also hit by an asteroid. The gas giant told his moon. They're okay, right? Io asked. Europa and Callisto both nodded. Yes, they'll be fine. They just need help. Europa confirmed. All right, guys, let's go, Ganymede called out to everyone, and they all ran back to their meeting spot so they could help Luminara's damaged eye, and Saturn could help Titan, Rhea, and Mimas. Until next time, you guys. I'll be waiting until the next attack, Solara said as she turned around. There was one thing to confirm. The revolution isn't over yet. Chapter 6. Healing, Neptune worsens. Back at the meeting spot, Jupiter was with Luminara working on patching up her swollen eye. Saturn was busy trying to heal up Titan, Mimas, and Rhea, and the rest of the planets and moons were busy chit-chatting. I really hope Titan's okay, Luna said with worry. I feel bad that he got a bad hit from that asteroid. Please don't worry, Luna, Elora said, rubbing his shoulder. I'm sure he'll be okay. I know you and him care so much for each other. Suddenly, a loud scream of terror made everyone jump from their spots. Everyone started looking around to find the source of the scream. What the heck was that? Venus cried. That was... Jupiter took a moment to recognize the scream. Uranus! He's over there with Neptune, and oh my goodness, she is looking worse than I thought. Neptune's color was very light. She had rings around her eyes, and her face was very pale in color. Her cough and voice sounded very hoarse. She couldn't even talk. 3 of her moons, Triton, Proteus, and Larissa, looked over with big worried eyes. Oh, Neptune, please be okay, Triton said, trying his hardest not to cry. I'm fine, Neptune coughed, smiling weakly. You promised you'd never lie to him, Larissa recalled. Remember? Flashback. Remember, Neptune, we will promise to never lie to each other, okay? Triton held Neptune's hand in his. Neptune nodded. I promise, Triton, we will never lie to one another. Ever. The two hugged, keeping that promise sealed. End of flashback. You're right, Neptune said hoarsely. I lied. I'm not fine. I feel awful. You should probably sit up for the next attack, Mercury recommended, because that state is not good for fighting. You're right, Mercury, the weak ice giant groaned. I'll sit this one out. Uranus's face was covered with tears of anxiety. Stay with me, Neptune, please, he cried. I can't lose you. She'll be okay, Jupiter said. She just needs rest, that's all. And Mercury's right. She will sit out the next attack. After a little bit, Neptune fell asleep soundly, and Uranus stayed with her to keep her company. The planets went back to their chatting, and Jupiter was just about finished patching Luminara's swollen eye. There you go, he told her, rubbing circles on her back. How do you feel? Luminara sniffled. I feel okay. It does hurt a little bit, though. It's going to, but just don't touch it, and the pain will lessen, Jupiter told her with a calm expression. And don't worry, you can still join the attacks we plan. Elara came over and sat on her planet's shoulder. Hey, Luminara, she said. How you feeling? I'm okay, Elara. Luminara smiled at her moon. My eyes should be better soon. Earth and Mars walked on over to check in on her as well, and Luminara told them she was okay, and they were glad she will be all right. Saturn was just about finished eating the 3 of her moons that took a bad hit during the asteroid attack. Titan, Mimas, and Rhea looked up at their planet and smiled calmly. How do you 3 feel? The ringed beauty asked in her sweetest voice. Better, thanks to your aid, Mimas said, feeling a sense of comfort in his usual demeanor. I don't feel any discomforting sensations anymore. I feel great, Saturn. Thanks for the help, Titan said gratefully. You truly are an amazing planet to us moons. Agreed, Rhea smiled, linking arms with her big brother moon. Saturn hugged her 3 moons while Enceladus, Dione, Iapetus, and Hyperion watched with adored eyes. Uranus's moon, Titania, came over to her planet to check on him. She noticed that his eyes were red and swollen from crying and stress. He's worried about Neptune, she thought as she went over and rubbed his shoulder. Hey, Uranus, are you okay? The ice giant looked up at his moon. I'm fine. Just worried sick about Neptune, since she's getting worse, he said while rubbing his eyes with his arm and fighting the lump in his throat. I could tell. I'm worried too. And I was also chatting with Triton. He's worried too. But we have one thing for sure. She feels better, right? Uranus nodded and calmly looked over at his sleeping best friend. Yes. Chapter 7. Uranus's Nightmare. Late that night, all the planets and moons have fallen asleep so they could prepare for their next attack the next day. Neptune needed a lot more rest and was going to sit the next attack out, as she was asked. However, Uranus was going through a lot of stress and was having trouble staying asleep. At the moment, he was tossing, turning, and breathing fast. Just asleep on Saturn's right, Rhea awoke to the sound of Uranus's fast breathing. Oh dear, she said quietly. Titan opened his eyes. What's wrong, Rhea? It's Uranus. I just noticed that he keeps breathing fast in his sleep, also tossing and turning a lot, the young Saturnian moon said in worry. Titan took the words in seriously until he soon realized what was going on. Oh no, it looks like he's having a nightmare. Uranus' dream. Uranus began to frantically look around for Neptune. He couldn't find her anywhere in their attack site. Frantic enough, he ran to Jupiter to ask. Jupiter! He cried. The gas giant turned over to him. Oh, you okay, Uranus? He asked. Have you seen Neptune? I can't find her. Hearing the name, Jupiter's face fell in sadness. Uranus heard a small sob escape the gas giant. Then he saw Saturn come over to him and hug his arm, also crying. Guys, what's wrong? Uranus tried asking. Jupiter sighed. Uranus, we don't want to tell you this, since we know by heart that Neptune is your best friend, but... He trailed off, sniffling. Uranus's face paled. Then he saw Titania climb up on his shoulder, while seeing Mercury, Venus, Earth, Luna, Mars, Luminara, and Alara gathered with the gas giants, also tear-stricken. What the heck was going on? Guys, please don't tell me Neptune, the ringed ice giant said in shock and disbelief. Tears stung the corners of his eyes. He didn't want to believe what Jupiter was trying to say. Neptune's... Jupiter tried to swallow the huge lump in his throat. Gone. The sickness she got from being in a single orbit got to the best of her, and she was struggling to fight it. She left us earlier before we began our next attack. Uranus' face was pale white with shock and disbelief. Gone? Left us? No, this couldn't be. His tears couldn't hold back anymore and began pouring down his face. No! You cannot be serious! My best friend can't be gone! He yelled desperately. Saturn sniffled. I'm sorry, but it's true. It's hard to process, though. She started to cry heavily on Jupiter's shoulder. Titania wiped a tear off her planet's face. I'm so sorry, Uranus. We didn't want you to hear this, but we had to tell you before you never knew, she said. She was my best friend, Titania! What will I do without her? Oh, Neptune! The ringed ice giant broke down bawling again, unable to stop. He felt Titania's hand in his, and felt Luminara's embrace around him. That didn't matter to him right now at that point, as he continued to cry all the emotional distress. End of dream. No! Don't leave me! Uranus screamed as he jolted awake from his nightmare. He caught his breath and checked his surroundings. The planets far to the left didn't seem to hear anything, while Jupiter, Saturn, a few of their moons, Neptune, and a few of her moons looked at him in worry. Titania and Miranda were also looking at him. Oh, I'm so sorry I scared you guys awake, Uranus said in worry and stress. He felt a little discomfort with all the eyes on him. What happened? Did you have a bad dream? Jupiter asked. Uranus sighed. Yes, and it was about Neptune. Neptune perked up and scooted closer to her best friend. About me? She asked hoarsely. Easy now, Neptune, Triton reminded her. Uranus sighed again. Yes, I had a bad dream that you left us due to how bad your sickness was, he said. Jupiter, Saturn, and Neptune gasped. That dream sounded dark, pretty sad. Uranus, that's so sad, Saturn said sympathetically. Yeah, for real, my friend, Jupiter added. Neptune hugged her BFF. Listen, I'd never, ever leave you. This sickness may be fighting me, but it would never worsen to the point I would have to go. So don't worry. I'll always be here for you, she said warmly. Jupiter and Saturn smiled. That was the sweetest thing Neptune had ever said. Oh, Neptune! With enough emotion, Uranus released all his stress by sobbing into Neptune's arms. Too precious, Saturn said as a happy tear rolled down her face. Jupiter rubbed circles on her back. Yeah, he agreed. Definitely so precious. A little while after, Uranus had fallen asleep in Neptune's embrace. She decided to hold him while they both slept for the rest of the night. Definitely some comfort at last. Eh, Saturn? Jupiter asked. He didn't get an answer, as he saw Saturn had fallen back asleep too. He wrapped his arms around the ringed beauty and let his body and surface relax. A sense of pride tingled his big red spot. I feel good that we're all together in this revolution, and we will never lose each other, he thought as he slowly fell back asleep letting the rest of the night be at peace, so the next day, the next attack can take place. Chapter 8. Next attack. Star acquaintances return. The next attack was ready to take place, and that was known as the surface attack. That means each planet sends out shockwaves towards Solara, and it would completely stun her. The leader Guardian Sun turned around and saw all the planets above her again. She knew what that meant. Another attack against her. "Bring it on then," she declared. "I'm ready for anything." "Mercury, now!" Jupiter called as Mercury clasped his hands together, and the shockwave came blasting through and Solara got hit, completely stunned. Then the small planet slapped her on the arm. "Ouch!" she cried. "That shockwave and slap really hurt." Mercury didn't say anything and then told Venus and Earth to do their move. The two clapped hands and the shockwave doubled up and hit Solara. She was so stunned that she almost fainted. Soon, Mars and Luminara followed up with their shockwave attacks until 3 stars suddenly ran in front of Solara. "Don't hurt her!" one of them shouted. "She doesn't deserve this!" Wait a minute. Solara recognized the 3 stars. They all met when she was a baby star. They were known as Rigel, Ptolemy, and Proxima Centauri. "Rigel? Proxima Centauri? Ptolemy?" Solara exclaimed. "It's been over millions of years since I last saw you 3. "Indeed it has been, Solara," Proxima says, her red light beaming brightly. "Last time we saw you was when you were just little," Ptolemy recalled until he looked up at all the planets surrounding them. "And what's going on with all your planets here? And why in blazes are they dressed like that? And one of them's out of this picture." Solara sighed. "Well, it's a long story. I put them through a lot and had them share a single orbit as their punishment for disobeying me again. And then they decided they had enough and started a whole revolution on me," she explained. "And Neptune is sitting this attack out and resting because she has gotten very sick during their single orbit days. And it put me through major stress because she's my best mate," Uranus added. "Wait a second, you punished your planets?" Rigel asked in shock. "How could you do such things for them for disobeying you?" "I guess I've gone too far," Solara said in guilt. "Hopefully at one point they'll make peace with me again. But still, I remember the time we met you when you were little, before we were told by Arcturus that we had to run before the star that was going to explode," Proxima said as her mind drifted off to the time they met Solara when she was little. Flashback. A small little star was born, and she was officially known as Solara, and the future leader guardian sun of a future solar system. She looked around in worry. "Who? What? Where am I?" she asked out loud while looking around. "Hey, Ptolemy, look at this one," a voice said. "Nice find, Rigel," the other one said. They appeared to be 2 other stars, a big yellow one and a small orange-like colored one. And they were known as Rigel and Ptolemy. "Can you 2 please help me?" little Solara asked. "I'm scared." "Please help me, I'm scared," Ptolemy said mockingly while laughing. "Poor little star," followed Rigel. Solara's little eyes teared up while she whimpered. And then came a young red female star known as Proxima Centauri. "Come on now, don't bully her," she scolded the 2. Rigel and Ptolemy's sweat dropped and nodded slowly. "Sorry, little star," they both apologized at once. "Guys, get out of the way!" another voice bellowed at the 4. A larger star, who was known as Arcturus, appeared above them. Solara looked up. "Ah, scary!" she cried fearfully. "What is it, Arcturus?" asked Proxima. Arcturus pointed toward a white star looking pale and its color was a beaming light. "It's that star," he says. "It's going supernova!" "Okay, I'm out," Ptolemy cried as he took off and Rigel followed him. "See ya, baby star. We've got to run," Proxima cried as she also ran off. "We gotta go!" Arcturus cried while following them from behind. Solara got lost in confusion of what was going on and why the stars ran off in a panic. "Hello?" she then asked the white star. Are you in pain?" The star's final words came out as, "Run, little one." And then her eyes closed as her face dissipated. Then the star itself continued expanding. "Hello?" Solara cried before her eyes stung with tears again. No, please don't go. I don't want to be alone." The star soon exploded into an enormous supernova, a flashy beam of light radiating the depths of space. Solar wind from the nova with small asteroids came towards Solara and sent her flying away. She screamed in terror and for help as the supernova sent her flying away into the void. End of flashback. Solara was also having the same flashback, and the moment she was sent flying away after the supernova set off haunted her mind. Proxima? Proxima! Rigel snapped the red star out of flashing back by waving his hand in front of her eyes. Oh, sorry, the red star snapped out of it. But anyway, Solara, have your planets gone crazy or what? Excuse us? All the planets shouted at once. Faces dropped in anger. Even their moons couldn't believe what Proxima said. Solara soon didn't know what to say. Proxima? You just angered them. I what? The red star looked around and saw the planets' faces were angered and looking like they were going to rage or something. She then changed what she was going to say. Okay, sorry, that slipped. But what I meant to say was, what happened? Why are your planets against you like this? Well, what I've overheard from Rigel and Solara herself is that Solara had punished her planets and put them through a lot of pressure, and the planets decide they have had enough of the torture and started a revolution, Ptolemy explained. Proxima processed everything that was heard. She then looked at Solara with shocked eyes. Why would you do that? Well, Solara tried to say something, but she was too scared to admit anything to her acquaintances. Okay, what's taking so long? Can I just perform my attack? Mars complained as he felt himself getting impatient. Patience, Mars! Luminara snapped. Well, Solara finally explained to her acquaintances. They left their orbits, and they left the solar system. And that's why I've done these punishments. Because I disapprove them leaving their orbits and also just not being in them either. The worst time was when they all left the solar system. And even the time when Earth left. That was dangerous for her Earthlings because the temperatures dropped drastically. Earth shuddered as she didn't want to be reminded of that. And didn't even want to think about it either. Wow, that's just dark, Rigel said. You could have been banished for that. Hey, I'm in charge of banishment, Solara snapped. Now you three should leave. These planets are trying to attack me still. The three stars hesitated, but then saw Mars and Luminara about to attack, so they soon ran off to prevent being attacked themselves. With enough annoyance and impatience taking over, Mars clapped his hands and a shockwave came forward, stunning the leader Guardian sun. Luminara then followed up with her attack as well. After the gas giants and the ringed ice giant did their attacks, Solara passed out because she was stunned way too much and even made her dizzy. After that, the planets all left and went back to their meeting place. Successful attack, guys, Jupiter said. That one went well, but I didn't expect 3 stars that Solara knew as a baby star to show up. And the red one called us crazy, Venus said in anger. That was pretty offensive, Mercury recalled, squeezing Venus's hand for reassurance. I know, but don't let that get to you, Jupiter said with a sigh as he kept his green lightning in control. But what we need to do now is rest. Uranus, can you see how Neptune's doing? Uranus nodded and turned around. He saw Neptune fast asleep in the nearby corner of their meeting spot. Her color seemed to have darkened again, and her face was less pale. The ringed ice giant noticed the differences. She looks like she's getting better, so maybe she can join our next attack. Saturn then noticed the difference of Neptune's face. He's right, Jupiter, she then said to her best friend. Do you see the difference? Jupiter nodded in confirmation. Yep, you got that right. So we'll let Neptune join our next attack because she's looking better than the last time we saw her. But now, we need our rest, you guys. This revolution isn't done yet until we make peace. All the planets went off into their comfort spots in their meeting place, settling in so they could prepare for their next attack when they are ready. Chapter 9. Loss of 2 Saturnian moons, Saturn's Rage. Meanwhile, after all the planets and moons were asleep, Solara decided to do a sneak-up attack, which meant she'd quietly sneak up by the meeting spot and launch a solar flare. She snuck up behind a pile of asteroids to see if the coast was clear. When she checked, all the planets and moons were fast asleep, completely oblivious to anything that was happening. Perfect, let's do it, Solara whispered as she took a deep breath and launched the solar flare forward. However, 2 moons were hit by the flare and they both ended up crashing. Solara gasped as she studied the crash closer. Her face dropped as she saw the crash right by Saturn. Solara's solar flare made 2 of her moons crash! Oh no, Saturn's gonna hate me for this big time. she thought as she took off back to her spot. Titan suddenly jolted awake after hearing the flare and crash noise. Rhea, Enceladus, Dione, Mimas, and Iapetus were also awake, and then their faces paled as they saw that crash above them. "Oh no," they all said at once. "Huh? What's the matter, guys?" Saturn slowly woke up to the sound of her moon's panic. She sat up, rubbing her eyes. "Oh, she's going to break down the minute she sees this," Iapetus whispered to Mimas. "Wait," Dione pointed something out about the crash. "Are those chunks Teddy's remains?" "They are! Teddy's! No!" Rhea cried. Saturn's vision cleared, and then she saw her moons in a panic and saw the bunch of chunks in front of her. She gasped while her face paled. No! She began having a panic attack, and then felt tears coming. Then suddenly, she shrieked in terror and emotional distress. The scream suddenly awoke in Jupiter as he turned and saw Saturn's face stricken with tears and the moon crash in front of her. "Oh no! 2 of our moons crashed. It must have been Solara, because I swear I heard a solar flare launch while I was asleep," he said quietly to himself. "Big guy, you good?" Ganymede asked. "I'm fine. I just heard Saturn scream, though, and 2 of our moons took a hit from a solar flare and crashed," Jupiter told him. Ganymede's face fell. "Oh no," he said, almost crying. Back over with Saturn, she was sobbing out her devastation. Her moons' faces were struck with terror and emotional pain. Even Dione, Enceladus, and Rhea couldn't help crying a little too. "Can you identify whose chunks are who?" Titan asked. Iapetus decided to study the chunks closer, though he was blind through one eye. "They appear to be Tethys, and also a moon we never knew that was orbiting our planet. Daphnis," he said. "Oh my stars!" Mimas cried. "Anyone but Tethys! Who could have done this?" Dione cried through her tears. Titan began to think about who would be responsible for this. It was never him or any of the others, nor Saturn, because they were all asleep when this happened. Then, it hit him like an asteroid. "It was Solara! She launched a solar flare and it must have hit the 2 moons and made them crash!" he exclaimed. "I knew it! She's the culprit behind this!" Enceladus exclaimed. Jupiter suddenly came over with his A-team trailing behind him. He rubbed circles on Saturn's back in order to reassure her. "Saturn, I'm so sorry," he whispered comfortingly. The ringed beauty threw her arms around her best friend, almost catching him off guard. With no hesitation, Jupiter wrapped his arms around the ringed planet and slowly cradled her back and forth, shushing her softly. "Poor Saturn. That moon crash really devastated her," Callisto sighed. "Yeah, it really did," Europa added. "Hearing her cry makes me want to cry," Titan said, trying to hold back his tears. Dione reassured him by rubbing circles on his back. After a while, Saturn had apparently cried herself to sleep because Jupiter noticed that she was asleep in his arms. He carefully propped her back down and then went back to his respective spot in their meeting area, and Ganymede, Europa, Callisto, and Io followed him. Titan picked up Saturn's hand and calmly rubbed it with his. Her face was red and there were wet spots on her face from the tears that were pouring down from her eyes. "Is she okay?" Rhea asked. "She's okay. She is just devastated," Titan reassured her. "Don't worry too much, guys. We should probably let her rest." Everyone nodded, and then all fell back asleep from exhaustion. Titan and Rhea then fell asleep a while after. Meanwhile, the next day, Jupiter was working on plans for their next attack while everyone else was busy chatting with one another. But however, something was up with Saturn. Her body was completely still, she had her head down, she was completely silent, and her buzzsaw rings were shaking slightly. Her moons tried to speak to her and snap her out of it, but nothing worked. "What's up with her?" Titan asked. "She won't snap out of it." "Is she hallucinating or something?" Enceladus asks, worried. "Saturn? What's wrong? Speak to us or something," Dione cried. "Is something on your mind?" Saturn slowly lifted her shaking fist while lifting her head, and her eyes were bloody red in color. Her moon's faces paled as they backed up a little. "What the?" Iapetus said as he saw the ringed beauty's face. Is she mad?" Rhea asked, hiding behind Titan in fear. "Not just mad. I think she's..." Mimas then noticed that Saturn's face began twitching with anger. "I think she's undergoing... rage." "Rage?" everyone cried at once. Saturn let out an enormous angered scream as she began to dash toward Solomon in fury. Uranus and Neptune were both shocked by what they were seeing. Jupiter looked up from his planning book and almost jumped out of his seat. "What the? Saturn?" he yelled. "She's raging, Jupiter," Titan pointed out. "She must be real angry at Solara for destroying 2 of her moons." No kidding. I heard her scream," Io recalled. "Oh no, I have not seen her get this angry in our lives," Jupiter said, still processing everything that just happened. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Luna, Mars, Luminara, and Alara then noticed the angered ringed beauty dash past them. Their faces dropped. "Whoa," Luna says, almost fainting from shock. "I overheard about 2 of her moons getting destroyed by a solar flare," Mars said. "Is that what happened that made her so mad?" "Seems like it," Earth said. "Dang, none of us have seen her this angry." "No kidding," Mercury said nervously as he hugged Venus fearfully. She held him. "She's really going to get back at Solara now," Luminara pointed out. "Yeah, big time," Alara added. "Solara!" The leader guardian's son jumped and turned around at the source of the scream. Saturn was hurtling towards her, eyes red with fury. "Whoa, Saturn! Whoa!" Solara screamed. Before she could move, she felt herself getting scarred as Saturn attacked her with her buzzsaw rings in rage. "Moon Destructor! Monster!" the ringed beauty screamed in anger as she continued to attack. Solara's eyes stung with tears as the stings from the scars were really heavy. "Stop! Stop it! Stop! Please!" she wailed. "Saturn, stop!" Jupiter hollers fearfully as he ran forward and tried to pull the ringed beauty back. Some of the ringed beauty's moons followed, with Ganymede, Io, Callisto, and Europa. "She's gone crazy! Look at those scars on Solara!" Rhea cried. Jupiter grabbed Saturn by the waist and began to pull her back from Solara. She tried finally to get out of his grasp. "Let go of me, Jupiter!" Saturn screamed. "She destroyed 2 of my moons! She's a monster!" "Saturn, I can't let go until you stop attacking Solara and calm the heck down!" Jupiter exclaimed sternly. Suddenly, Saturn's eyes went from red to her normal golden eyes. After that, Jupiter let go of her and grabbed her hand. "What in cosmos has gotten into you?" Saturn started to cry again, but this time, in deep regret and anxiety. Jupiter sighed and walked back with her to their meeting spot, and their moons followed. "I'm so sorry. I let my rage take over me again," Saturn wailed, feeling terrible for what she did. "I just got so mad at Solara for destroying 2 of my moons." Jupiter rubbed her hand with his thumb. "Listen, Saturn, I'm not mad, but you've got to control your rage. That was really serious rage you had there." Saturn nodded slowly at him and then turned to her moons. "Sorry I scared you guys." Titan, Enceladus, Rhea, Mimas, Iapetus, and Dione looked at her sympathetically. "It's okay. We understand how mad you were," Titan said. "Just control it next time." Saturn nodded and hugged her moons and Jupiter. And then after that, they all went to the others to gather for a discussion for their next attack. Chapter 10. Planet X joins the last attack. A long-lost planet, known as Planet X, was navigating his way through the void of space, and then he saw the meeting place for the planets and moons. He heard about the revolution from one of his rogue planet friends, and decided to go discover. He peeked behind a wall of asteroids, and saw the planets in their revolution outfits, chatting about their next attack amongst one another. Planet X thought out loud. "If they let me join their attack, I'd be glad to." Jupiter turned around and his face dropped. "X?" he asked. "Come in. What are you doing here?" Planet X met Jupiter, Saturn, and Luminara when they were young during the earliest days of the solar system, so that was why they knew each other like that. "Planet X?" Saturn and Luminara then both exclaimed at once. "Wait, they know him?" Ganymede asked. "Don't you remember this guy?" Europa asked. "He was ejected out of the solar system by Jupiter when they were young, and then when X returned, Jupiter told the truth about X's ejection, and then he was banished for what felt like days. Remember?" Jupiter shuddered. He didn't want to remember that. "Don't remind me, Europa," he said before turning to X. "So, what brings you here?" "Well, one of my rogue planet friends told me about this revolution when they saw one of your attacks, so I decided to come discover the revolution and what it's like," X explained. "So, you heard about a revolution?" Saturn recalled what he said. X nodded. "Yeah, and if it's okay, can I maybe join your next attack if you have one in mind?" Jupiter hesitated for a minute until he finally nodded. "Yes, and here, take this brooch. It'll transform you into a revolutionary fighter." X took the brooch and transformed into a fighter. He wore a bandana on his head and had on a his shade of blue camo shirt and jeans, and also boots. On his arms, he wore wristbands and shades of light and dark blue. "Hey, this looks sick!" he exclaimed. "Now I'm really ready for this next attack." "Awesome! Now follow me, everyone!" Everyone followed behind Jupiter towards Solara and got ready for their attack. The leader guardian sun turned around and then paled the minute she saw X. "Planet X!" she cried. "That's right," he said. "I've joined forces with these planets, and we're ready to take you on." "I thought I banished you, and now you come back and join forces with my planets?" Solara felt her anger boil over again. "That does it!" Solara and X charged toward each other, and X used his sword to attack her, and they slashed back and forth. Solar flare launches and sword attacks. The other planets just stood there for a second. "Didn't expect that to happen. Now let's go, guys," Jupiter said as they all dashed forward and helped X with the attack. They fought for what felt like hours, and then they pushed back after a while due to exhaustion. "Wow," X caught his breath. "What a fight, you guys." "Planet X, get out of my solar system! Now!" Solara hollered. X jumped from the shout, but then sighed. "Well, guys, I should get going. She just kicked me out again." Jupiter shook hands with him. "Thanks for fighting alongside us," he said. "Pleasure's mine," he said before waving to Luminara and Saturn. "Glad we met again, you two." After that, X walked out back into the void to go back where he belonged, with the rogue planets. "Okay, now that we said goodbye to him," Jupiter's voice turned serious. "It's time for some important discussions." Chapter 11. The Planets Discussion. It was about that time for the planets to decide to finally make peace with Solara and stop the revolution, since they felt like they have attacked for a while and wanted to stop fighting back. So that day, they all gathered in a group discussion to make peace with their son. "So guys, we've been attacking Solara for quite some time now, and I think we need to begin making peace with her again," Jupiter explains. "Because if we attack more, there will be a serious consequence, like all of us getting banished." "You're right," Mars agreed. "The more attacks we create, the more pain and higher risk of getting kicked out of the solar system." "Exactly," Earth jumps in. "Besides, my Earthlings have experienced some freezing temperatures for a while since I've been fighting out of orbit, so it'd be best we make peace with Solara and return to our orbits." Venus then added in an idea on how they can make peace. "Maybe when we are all ready, we could go together and apologize to Solara, and then ask for peace, and which I'm sure she'll accept," she says. Mercury nodded in agreement, and also talked about regaining his best friend relationship with Solara, since they saw each other that way and wanted to be like that again. Saturn then explained how bad she felt for letting her rage devour her and attacking Solara like that, and she really wanted to say she was sorry. Uranus and Neptune followed up with how they were feeling about this, and that they strongly agreed to say their apologies to Solara. "I do want to make peace with Solara, since we can't be treating her like this," Luminara says. "We should go back to how things once were." "Well, it seems like we all really want to make peace now, so we are going to stop attacks altogether and go make peace with her first thing tomorrow," Jupiter then declares, after hearing everything that all his planetary friends had to say. "Is that clear?" "Yes, Jupiter," all the planets said together. "Awesome. Now let's go get some rest." All the planets all went to their respective places in their meeting place and called it a night, and it was confirmed. The planets are ending the planet revolution and are going to make peace with their sun again. Chapter 12. The Moon's Discussion. After hearing the conversation between the planets, Ganymede decided to gather all of his moon friends for a discussion as well, so they can help their planets make peace. "All right, my moon friends. Reason why I gathered you all here is because I want to discuss what's been happening lately, and we should probably help our planets make peace," he explains. "I know most of us have been through a lot lately, so let's break it down a bit. Well, for starters, Tethys was destroyed in our orbit," Titan started. "It devastated me, the other moons, and Saturn, and she raged the following day after crying in despair about it. Don't forget the time during the asteroid attack that me, Titan, and Mimas were hit," Rhea added. "I also remember when Luminara got hit in the eye by an asteroid," Elara recalls. "I was worried sick after that happened." Most of the moons began to recall the times that were hard for them. Triton and Proteus mentioned that they got very worried when Neptune was getting worse when she was very sick, and didn't want her to get worse than before. I remember when the planets first started the revolution, and Anna was so scared and didn't want it to happen," Io added in. "Yeah, you didn't want one. I could tell," Callisto says. Luna then recalled the time he saw Earth freezing up a little bit while they were out of orbit fighting and was getting worried she could freeze over again. But thankfully she didn't. But wait, what about Phobos and Deimos, the two little moons of Mars? Alara suddenly remembered. They weren't there for most of the revolution. Wow, now I don't even know the answer, Luna said in confusion. Do you think they sat out of the revolution due to their size? I think I heard Mars chat with them about that a while before the revolution started, Europa remembered. Flashback. Before the revolution. Mars? What are you doing? Phobos asked his planet, lost in confusion. Me and the other planets are going to have a little revolution to get back at Solara for the torture we've been through, Mars explains to his two moons. And I don't think you two can fight alongside me, because you're both too small, and one of you could get destroyed without me knowing. So I'm going to have you two sit out, okay? What? Deimos cried, hugging Mars on the arm. Don't go! We don't want to lose you! Mars hugged him. Deimos, don't worry. I'm going to be fine. You'll be able to reunite with me again, after the revolution. Deimos sighed and nodded. Okay, we understand. Good. Now stay here, where it's safe. I'll be back for you two. Mars smiled, and then dashed away to meet up with his friends, to get ready to jumpstart the revolution. Phobos and Deimos held hands. Good luck, Mars, they said in unison. End of flashback. So maybe, after we make peace all together, Phobos and Deimos can reunite with Mars, Ilara confirmed. Speaking of, where are they? Luna asked, looking around. Suddenly, the Moon Gang heard soft crying. Iapetus gasped. There! He pointed toward the corner. There they were, the small moons of Mars, sitting in the nearby corner, crying. Some of the moon's guys glittered with worry. Titan and Ganymede walked over to the two, knelt down and rubbed each of their shoulders. Hey, you two, Titan whispered as the two small moons turned around, tear-stricken. What? Deimos asks. Are you two okay? Ganymede asked. Phobos sighed. We miss Mars so much. It's been so long. We just want to see him, he wailed. Titan and Ganymede exchanged a glance and then turned back to the two, calmly smiling. You will reunite with him again, as soon as we make peace all together, Ganymede said, trying to make the two small moons smile. Knowing that they will reunite with their planet, Phobos and Deimos calmly smiled. They were to officially reunite with Mars as soon as peace was made. Titan brought the two over to the group and they finished up their discussion. Plans were made, and they were ready to assist their planets in making peace once again. Chapter 13. Solara's Thoughts and Decision. Solara sat in her orbit, head down, sobbing. She was full of so much regret, anxiety, and pain. Her planets had taken their anger out on her, and she wanted them to stop. I feel so awful. I shouldn't have done this to them. They've been through enough. I know, but I can't keep doing stuff like this to them anymore, she thought in deep regret and frustration. I can't do it. I'm no star. I'm no Lady Guardian. I'm nothing. When that thought hit her, she slapped herself in the face. No, don't think like that, she told herself. You're an amazing son. You'll always be a Leader Guardian. You just have to make things right, and then they'll love you forever again. The Leader Guardian's son then felt a sense of belonging. She then heard echoes of her planet's voices in her head. You're an amazing son, Solara. We love you. You've taken such good care of us, and that's why we want you to stay with us forever. We'll always look up to you if we ever need you. Don't blame yourself. Just be you and let your anguish go. You don't need it, because you're amazing. The phrases made Solara feel a sense of relief. Her planets love her, even if they've had enough. All they were to do is make peace together again, and that'll make things better. Make peace? It hit Solara like a solar flare. That's it! We should make peace! I will do that with my planets first thing tomorrow, she confirmed her decision. It's confirmed. Everyone agrees to make peace again tomorrow, and the revolution will be over and never to happen again. Chapter 14. Declaration of Peace. Solara felt a gentle warmth as she looked around at the faces of her planets, who had gathered together, clearly somber after the recent conflict. They stood in a half circle, with the moons lingering nearby, ready to witness the moment of making peace. Solara, Earth began, her voice holding the weight of their shared feelings. We are really sorry. Our revolution, fueled by frustration towards you, has caused you a lot of pain and disruption. We regret what we've done. Her apology was echoed by the other planets, creating a soft chorus of remorse that filled the space between them and their sun. Jupiter, typically ruling with confidence, shifted a bit uncomfortably. I, above all, need to express how sorry I am for the attacks we launched, he said, his rumbling voice filled with regret. Saturn looked up, her eyes twinkling with sadness. Felt guilt weigh on her rings. And I, she added, am really sorry attacking you with my rings in anger. I let my rage take control, and I acted without thinking. The moment of her attacking Solara with her buzzsaw rings and rage haunted her mind. Then Luminara stepped up, her radiant glow a calming light among the group. While we can learn from our past, let's also focus on renewal, she said, her voice resonant. From now on, let's choose harmony, understanding, and a shared future. We're all connected, and our true strength lies in our unity. Her words began to ease the tension in the air. Mercury, ever the quick thinker, rushed forward, his little form radiating sincerity. Solara, he urged, his voice filled with longing to restore their old friendship. I want to go back to how we were, the times when we shared secrets and laughter, when I orbited you out of affection, not defiance. His heartfelt plea brought a calm smile to Solara's face. A serene silence fell, interrupted only by the gentle hum of the cosmos. Solara's light softened even more as she extended her warm embrace. The planets gradually moved closer. First Mercury, then Venus, Earth, Mars, Luminara, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and finally Neptune, all joining together in a cosmic hug. It was a heartfelt gesture that represented their forgiveness and the mending of old wounds. We declare peace, Earth proclaimed, her voice now filled with determination. The planet revolution is over. From this day forward, we promise to live in harmony, guided by respect and understanding. The other planets joined her in this strong affirmation, their voices blending into a declaration of peace. Nearby, all the moons, silent observers of this significant moment, cheered with joy and pride. Luna, Ilara, Ganymede, Europa, Io, Callisto, Titan, Rhea, Enceladus, Iapetus, Dione, Mimas, Miranda, Titania, Triton, and Proteus all felt a wave of relief and happiness. Their planets had found peace again, paving the way for a new era of collaboration and cooperation among them all. Chapter 15. At Peace Once Again. After making peace a while back, everything was back to the way it was. Solara has officially given everyone their old orbits back, and it made everyone so happy. All the planets changed back from their revolutionary fighting outfits into their normal outfits. Solara and Mercury were happily chit-chatting away while Venus listened in and decided to join their conversation. Earth and Luna decided to celebrate the return of the good days by twirling and laughing together. Mars officially reunited with Phobos and Deimos, who missed him so much during the revolution. Mars! Phobos wailed. We missed you so much! You better believe we did, Deimos added. Mars embraced his two small moons. I missed you guys too. I'm so glad you two are safe and back with me again. Meanwhile, Luminara and Alara shared laughs and joy while listening and dancing to joyous music. In their opinion, it felt so good to be back. Jupiter and Saturn were back in their reading era, as Jupiter was reading his book and Saturn was next to him, listening to him read. She felt a sense of calmness since everything was back to the way it was again. Uranus and Neptune were happily hanging out again, laughing and playing. Neptune has also completely recovered from her sickness, as the color was back to her normal shade of blue, and she was no longer pale and no longer having severe coughing spells. So, Solara, it's good everything is back to normal, Mercury said with pride. How do you feel about this? Much better, the leader guardian son said with joy. And I promise I will never punish you guys again. And will you promise me not to be out of orbit way too much? You can have free will as much as you like, and this will go for everyone else too. Mercury nodded. Promise. And so, that concluded the planet revolution, as everyone was at peace again, and the solar system returned to the happiest horizon it ever was. Everyone made promises, and it all stayed with Solara. The solar system was now to remain a much happier place, forever and always. The end. And that is the conclusion of the read aloud of my Planet Revolution story. I worked very hard on this story, and I worked very hard writing it too, and it came out as a great project, and this read aloud was definitely worth it. So, thank you guys for listening, and also watching, and enjoy the rest of your day. Star Cherries, out.